We're live! Yes, hello, yes! Hi, everyone. Welcome to the premiere episode of Scotty Survivor, Season 2, Lost in Time. I'm one of the hosts of the podcast, Lee. With me, as usual, host Naomi. We got both the hosts of Scotty Survivor, Shane and Govind, and Survivor Michigan royalty, raw goddess third place herself, Erin from Survivor Michigan, Mason Confused, and upcoming All-Star season. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? That was a premiere.
What a panel we have to talk about it, huh? I'm really excited, and Erin is joining our Scotty Survivor coverage team, which I am even more excited about.
I am. I'm very excited about it too. Shane is a dear friend of mine, and I'm very excited to see what he has in store.
A lot.
If there's any proof of what's to come, it's this episode, which is one of, I think, you guys have teased a lot that you think this is one of the best seasons of College Survivor. This premiere is so strong. It's incredible. The characters are incredible. The tomfoolery that your cast is up to is incredible. I loved it. Lee, what did you think of this premiere?
Oh, good Lord. How do you keep up with this? I thought it was batshit crazy. A lot of stuff I said about these people I was correct about. Mainly their game. I might not have been correct on who I thought would go home first, but all the players I said will do bad are doing bad.
Okay, I was just laughing the entire time in the predictions because I was like, oh boy, it's gonna be a real shock when they see what's going on here.
And Erin, what did you think of this premiere?
Yeah, I loved it. It gave me everything I've ever wanted in like a College Survivor season. Like it's ridiculous that these are all that this is an all newbie season, that this is none of these people have played College Survivor before. This is just they're fresh, some of them are, I think it part of it is that there's so many upperclassmen, I think, that they're kind of they've established themselves in college. None of them are trying to just gain their college footing. So I think a lot of them are just I'm in this club, I'm going to have fun. And there, you can tell that so many of them are here to play, and that is all that you can ask for.
Absolutely. Govind and Shane, I mean, I think the first question right away is, did you expect from this cast of players to have this much chaos, the Puppet Master, a 3-2-1 vote in literally one round of gameplay?
The short answer is Govind will probably follow this up. The short answer is no. We could not have predicted anything that happened the way that it did. However, when we created this group of people, I think both of us said, what the fuck did we just do? Because it was clear from all the interviews that this was going to be honestly, I thought that this was going to be a more emotional season than it was, just based on the fact that we had so many people that were friends. But it ended up just being a really gameplay centric season with a lot of people that just really respect the game to us an extreme.
Yeah, no, hopping in off that, I was for sure not expecting this. I've said this before, but my entire first week of being on production for this, I was calling Shane, I was calling my brother, I was calling everybody else on prod, being what the fuck have we brought into existence? Because we've said before, there's no major twist in this first episode at all, but the cast creates their own twist. And from that, they then keep spiraling, and it's insane to watch. And like Shane was saying, I thought this was going to be a season of people being really hurt when friends would turn on each other or something. But instead, what we got was a bunch of people who really wanted to play, and a bunch of people who really wanted to play for TV, especially. So that brings a very fun product to the College Survivor universe.
I will say too, it's what Govind is saying is there are limited I guess twists. I will say there are there is more than one swap, so do with that as you will. It's we just wanted as much mess as possible, get them meeting everybody, make sure that everybody knows each other by the time they get to merge, for absolute chaos. And then of course we introduced some twist type things later on in the game because you can, and they're more fun that way. But really the first half of the game is just them being batshit crazy.
I mean, let's just start off with it. Erin, what you also did a cast assessment. I want to know what your predictions came true watching the introductions to these characters in the beginning of the episode. Like you were an you were an Abby hater because she hates potatoes, right? You and I are on the same page. Delusional.
That was Anna, actually, I think, wasn't it?
Anna?
Yeah. Anna was the one that hates potatoes, and Erin said has first boot energy.
I did. I said she was either going to be first boot or maybe I did. Anna's prediction came true for me. Like, she was like, she gave the Regina George, and like she did. She rubbed people the wrong way. Like, she immediately rubbed Viv the wrong way. And you got a little like combative energy between those two. That was a little disappointing to me that like the only targets on that tribe were the women. I was like, interesting. Like, why is nobody throwing out?
I didn't have to say anything, but
I know, but it's like even Nikhil, who like threw the vote on, he was thinking of doing it on Ricky, but he ended up doing it on Viv. It's like, okay, like I don't know why we're just going for the women to start, but whatever. But yeah, my prediction for Anna came true. Like, I didn't think that she was gonna I guess go that far. She did make allies, which was good, but clearly they were the wrong ones. Or at least, you know, they I mean, we'll talk about this later, but I do think that they obviously misplayed the first tribal, like, obviously. But yeah, that one definitely came true. I think we are seeing some gamers like Lauren is my winner pick. I am scared for her. She is already like being sus on her tribe. That is not looking good. But she is there to play, you know, as are the other people. Obviously, Nadia and Eyal, who I read completely wrong, but he is bringing out the cockiness that I'm seeing now.
I told you.
No, you're right. One of my favorite quotes was after the challenge. He was like, I gave probably the biggest lead in Survivor history. And I'm like, first of all, 2 of you had to hit the buckets with the balls. So, like, you couldn't single-handedly give your tribe the lead.
Yeah. Is Eyal the Jonathan from 42 of Scotty Survivor? He's just the whole team.
He's not that good.
He thinks he is, though. He certainly thinks he is.
I'm telling you, he's just Jackson reincarnated.
Oh my goodness.
No, not to that level, I don't think.
I think Eyal has much more social capital early on in the game than Jackson did. I mean, I thought this was so funny, especially I loved the intro where like people would show up and be like, "Oh shit, my friend's over there. Okay, play it cool, play it cool." Like that happened multiple times. I was laughing.
Well, unless you're Lauren and you just immediately tell everyone.
Yeah, that's my roommate.
Genuinely, I think all of us went, why? Like, why? Like, that's like the biggest no. Like, why?
Super fans are not good at Survivor. I've been saying ever since I joined this podcast group.
I think you could play that because I do think like if you're roommates with somebody, you're gonna have meetings at your house, most likely. So like people are gonna find out eventually. So I do feel like sometimes that doesn't happen. Like Thal and Tarowski did it in season 1 of Survivor Michigan. Nobody found out for the whole season. But I think that's mostly because they just didn't have meetings at their house. Like, but if you want to do that, if you want to make it easier on yourself, I feel like if there's a secret that will probably come out eventually, I don't think it's bad to be upfront about it.
I think that's a fair point. Govind, I wanted to know if you saw anything in this first meetup that really stuck out to you as like an interesting moment watching. I mean, I think you and Shane and I know, like, when you get everybody together and you just watch these people that you've worked so hard to put in a cast interact, like your eyes can't dart around fast enough to what chaos is brewing. Is there a moment that you remember that you were like, holy shit, I can't believe that just happened?
I think the biggest thing for me was when Tina walked in and then Tina realizes that Nadia's there. Like, you see a little bit of that in the episode, but Nadia's whole thing coming in all of her pregame press was like, I am so excited to play a game where people aren't really going to know stuff about me yet. So I can just like freely play how I want, play as hard as I want. And then the first thing that happens is Tina recognizes her. She recognizes Tina. And I just remember talking with Nadia after that premiere, and she's like, fuck, like this is horrible. I now have such an anchor weighing me down because Tina's going to do the crazy shit like what you saw later in the challenge, or she'll just go and taunt people. And she's just like, why not, right? And if there's ever going to be a moment where that could come back to bite her, Nadia was very worried about that. So coming out of the premiere, that was the first thing for me. And then I think I was also very, very wrong on like how much Abby and Xavier would be putting into the game. You saw how they were one of the first people to arrive. Like I was personally not too high on either of them coming out of like our initial cast interactions. Like, of course, high enough that they're still on the cast, but I had other personal favorites, and then seeing them arrive so early and take so much interest in getting to know people was a really welcome surprise.
I mean, I think that Xavier reminds me a lot of Xander from season 41. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, and it's not just the X in the name. I think that he's got like that young, like sort of naivete. He stumbles into all these alliances, and like everybody really likes him. He almost busts his ass during the challenge. He kind of does.
Please
bust
tell
his
me
ass.
somebody made a gift of that.
But yeah, I really liked him on first go around when we were introduced to Xavier, and I thought that like he put on a pretty good show for someone who I thought was going to be a little more timid or not as involved. So I was very happy to see that. You guys have a good eye for casting. Erin, I want to know from your experience, what are the most important points when you show up to like that first initial meetup of Survivor? Like when you get there, what do you do? How do you sort of present yourself so that you're in the best position going forward?
I think it's better to almost like to be an observer rather than try to put yourself in the center of the action, because it's that like initial out the gate. One of the key things of like just longevity in the game is blending in and just not making yourself stand out as like a potential boot. So I think in that initial meetup, it's kind of like you want to watch, see other people's personalities, see what they're portraying, and then you just kind of give off just enough of your own kind of, you want you, but toned down, I think, is the best option. That's certainly not what I did. That's certainly not, what I'm inclined to. But I do think that on first contact, that might be the best bet. Because people are going to reach out to you. They're going to talk to you if they're on your tribe. Mm-hmm. You're going to get that later down the road. So like in that big group setting, the goal should be to watch and listen and not make it all about you.
I think that's a very good observation. Does anybody have any notes from this initial like pre-challenge meetup that they want to talk about, or just anything that like really came to mind? Lee scrolling through his like tome of notes.
Something that I just didn't have, like, I guess for y'all to know, that something I just didn't have time to really highlight as much just because this episode was so long already, was just like how free people were with like knowing one another. Like Judanique and Lauren were not the only people that were upfront about that. Like Joe, Valen, and Ricky, like they all made it known that they know each other. Abby and Vivian like had like a little slip up where they were like, Vivian basically said that she, like, I didn't catch it on tape, I don't think, but Vivian said that she like knew Abby from some sort of class or whatnot. And so just like, to me, that was maybe the most shocking part of day one, was just like, I was like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like, are you kidding? Like, why would you ever say that you know somebody? Yeah, that was just really, the only people that didn't say anything were Nadia and Tina. I mean, if you saw it in the trailer, that's not going to last for very long. But like, I guess maybe in this case, being more upfront about the relationships kind of helped. But yeah, that's just kind of, that was the most shocking part to me. Day one is like, I would never.
I would never. Yeah, maybe it's like because you get buried.
The exact same thing in season 4. Whatever, it's fine.
Lee, do you have any notes from this opening?
I like the poster Vivian has in the back of her confessionals.
The Stitch poster?
Yeah.
Great poster. Got like, shout out to OG Ohana, right? From whatever season of College Survivor.
Leaders at best. Michigan 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Best Michigan season. Sorry, Erin.
Some will disagree.
I don't think 3 is the best season by any means, but I also don't think it's 2.
Oh man.
And the only other thing I wrote down was when Nadia said, I recognize Tina's hat, and then I was like, oh, like Erin, how she always wears the same hat.
I actually had that same thought. She was like, your famous hat. And I was like, oh, is that me?
That's really funny. Well, we go right into the challenge, right, guys? If I'm not mistaken. Yep. First of all, I gotta say, I love this challenge. Shane, you did a great job yelling at everybody. But also, what I love about challenges like this is when every single person has something to do, it creates a really fun, awful target on somebody's back if they mess up. And actually, I'm having flashbacks, Erin, in this challenge when Tina was heckling to Richard heckling in season 3, and it made me laugh because I was like, you tell them to watch Survivor Michigan. I assume, would 3 have been out by then?
Yeah, 3 was out by then because we talked about.
They should have learned. They should have watched Survivor Michigan like you told them to. I mean, this was a really fun challenge. You guys, what do you go when you think about your first challenge? What did you want to get out of this?
Before even hopping into the challenge, Tina's the person to ever watch Survivor Michigan. I think you'll become very, very clear. I doubt, like, we had explained some of the rules like over time, so I think Tina's. Yeah, that would have went way over her head. Runjin, though, I was surprised that Runjin was heckling people because Runjin was clearly like a Survivor superfan coming into this, and making a target for no reason doesn't really help you much at all. But yeah, Shane, go forward with the challenge.
Well, this was like the first like tribal challenge in person that we had ever had, which is like kind of crazy to say because of the pandemic. So like the only like in-person challenges we had were post-merge last season. So I think that we just wanted something that got them all interacting together in some way or form, and just like would let us use like an entire space that, well, we still like technically had to follow social distancing, which clearly they didn't do at the end. Sorry, Simu. But like we had to like kind of structure it so that like we could like still kind of follow that and have them like spread out enough so there wasn't an issue. But yeah, I think it's just something that was like engaging, kept them moving, kept them thinking, like trying to do all the aspects of Survivor, like the physical, the mental, and like I guess social, but not really, but like, you know what I mean, like kind of getting their brains working.
Definitely. I think also you got the competition there. There's something about being in person that brings out the competitive spirit. And I love that. Like I don't want people to get messy, but also I really, really do want people to get messy. So that was like such a blessing. And I also loved, we had the lead, the comeback, the failure. Like there were so many parts of the challenge. I felt bad for Valen doing the cardboard slide puzzle, right? She had a really funny confessional about that. I know how it is. Like, if something doesn't come in time, you only have 2 preps instead of 3. It just happens. But I love that she was like, thank God. Because I feel like they would have just blamed the hell out of you guys if they didn't pull out the win.
Yeah, they already were. Even though they won, I was like, y'all can relax. Like, you won. You just focus on being safe. Like, we have enough. And like, I was just getting messages from all of these people being like, you guys really have to fix that. And I'm like, I'm dealing with all of the mess of the other teams that are. And on top of that, like, okay, so like, this is like behind the scenes stuff. But like, the biggest kind of like, I guess, scandal of production that season was that all of the idols just started disappearing. Like they weren't taken by players. They just were like disappearing on campus. Like, and at one point, like I caught somebody like taking it. Like I literally had to rehide an idol like 3 times because somebody like kept taking it. And it wasn't involved in the cast at all. Like it just was like, so that was what I was dealing with for the first 48 hours of the game, was like some rando just taking the idols. And then I finally figured out who it was and was like, stop doing that.
It was the Puppet Master.
I thought it was in like a not obvious place, but I guess like the rain kind of like detached it. And then it kind of fell. So we like had to come up with new hiding spots after that.
Wow, so the person was just like, free necklace. Sweet.
Exactly. Yeah, some necklace.
It's in a plastic bag that says Scotty Survivor. What makes you think that you can just take it? Like...
Yeah, now we have to have like a stranger warning on the idol clue that's like, if you are not playing this game, put this shit down. Like, what kind of people are out? I can't.
Drama students.
I was a theater kid. Don't trust them. Erin, did you have a highlight from this challenge, or just in general? Like, what did you think about what went on?
Yeah, well, I think obviously Xavier eating shit was a great moment. No shade to him, but that was very funny. Especially like I think somebody literally yelled like "Don't fall," and then he just fell. That was very, very perfect comedic timing. I don't think that anybody could have scripted that better. But I also loved that Abby like shit the bed in her part of the challenge, but then she came up with a strategy, I think, for the slide puzzle that got them the win eventually. So she had a good arc even within that challenge of like, if they would have lost, it probably would have been fully on her, like they would have blamed her. She would have had the target, but then she figured out like, hey, this is actually where I'm useful. This is actually where I'm going to put my efforts. But then I'm also like, why didn't she ask to do that part of the challenge, So I don't know. I think that was also a good moment.
Lee, in your tome of notes, do you have thoughts on the challenge? Or are you one of those people who just doesn't care for the challenge?
A bit of both. It depends on what the challenge is.
You can tell that I've podcasted with Lee long enough that I know exactly what he does and doesn't like about a Survivor before even checking in.
One thing I noted, I kind of just like Tina just being like, "I'm not gonna fall." After he saved it, she does a little fairy jump. It's like, "Don't worry, I'm not gonna fall." I think I know which tribe is going to be like the overconfident tribe, being like, "We're gonna win everything." It's definitely the
Dale and Parker's tribe.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know how you were able to guess.
That's not a surprise.
I know it's like, why is Govind wearing 2 masks?
This was probably in the double mask era, right?
Yeah, this was very much double mask era. You will see.
Govind literally said that to me. He was like, everybody's going to comment on that.
Yeah, I know. I was so sure that that's going to be such a focal point. But yeah,
don't worry about it. Nobody's going to say anything. He was like,
staying safe. Come on.
Yeah, I wanted to be safe, and very thankfully, caught COVID only come season 4, not season 2. So we were good for this season.
Yeah, that's true. I used to like double mask all the time, and then I stopped, and now I got COVID a couple of months ago. So the conspiracy starts with you.
The irony is that Govind is our first COVID case within Scotty Survivor during a season.
Congratulations, Govind! You're a trailblazer.
That should get you an advantage, I think. Like,
congratulations, you got COVID. Here's an extra vote.
Oh my god. Well, this is a victory for the Green Tribe and the Pink Tribe. Right, I'm saying that right?
Yes,
right?
Those two.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Listen, you got some dark buffs. Sometimes it's hard to tell. But they look really nice.
That was a running joke. They the Zaman basically were like, it's not pink, it's purple. Like the entire time. Like they just kept nagging us in their chat. I was like, it's pink. It's pink.
It's like a darker pink.
But also, I would want to be on the Pink Tribe. Like, I feel like there's so many boring Survivor Tribe colors. Like, put me on the Pink Tribe. Put me on the Lime Green Tribe. Like, I want to be on the most obnoxiously colored buff tribe possible in the best way. I love it. What are the origins of the tribe names? I don't think we talked about this. Where do these tribe names come from? Oh, come on. You got to have that in your back pocket.
I forget I wrote it down somewhere. It had some, all of them had some, relation to time, some meaning of, time in, maybe a different language. Or I think one of them was, something, Hebrew. Can't remember the exact words for it, but, it meant something related to time, each one. Yeah, Govind, please tell me you remember more than I do.
Way over my head, bro. It was very intentional. We had a long call about the tribe names. That's in the past.
Okay, yeah, wait, I was right. Dorit in Hebrew means generation or period of time. I knew I was right on that. And then Zaman, it was based on an Arabic time, age, era. And then Varandi was Old Norse, which meant was to become within time. I don't know exactly, but that's so 3 different languages.
I mean, that leads me to my other question. Is Lost in Time going to play a bigger factor in the season overall, in the theme, in any of the advantages? What is the significance of Lost in Time, if anything?
Hourglass twist?
Oh no!
Anna, you're back in.
I think that in general, the season name has less effect than we hopefully were hoping for. However, some of the potential twists have to do with maybe speeding the game up or slowing the game down in some way, shape, or form, or kind of just like, yeah, I guess that's the best way I can describe it. Govind, do you have another way of?
Yeah, I would say the pace of the game changes later on, dependent on time-related twists. However, like I've said a million times by this point, the contestants are the real focal point of the season. It's much less like any sort of time-related instance on the prod side. So, yeah, it's similar to how season one had a few twists here and there, but that was by no means a focal point. It was much more player-driven.
And also, light and dark could be things here.
Okay.
Very specific, Shane. Thank you.
Battle of the good and bad. All right. Jeez. Well.
So nobody be on the good tribe then.
Well, we did talk about some of those juxtapositions though, with like Abby and Viv, where it's kind of like the light and the dark, or like Jude and Lauren, you know? So like, yeah, I feel like Abby and Jude and Nick are both good people.
Great, we got 2.
Or even like, I think the juxtaposition of someone like Anna, who's calling herself a Regina George type, and then you have like Judanique, who seems like truly the nicest person in the entire world. Like, and I love those foils on a tribe together. I don't know how much you guys thought about that, but I certainly think as a viewer, we got a fun experience with that kind of chaos in the mix. Well, let's get right into the strategy of it all. This was a ton of fantastic character examples and moments in time. I mean, I didn't even realize until halfway through that the reason that they were making a joke about calling the alliance the Nacho Cheese Alliance was because Dorit is almost Dorito. Like, it took me so long to process that. And see, there you go. Like that was the thing where I was like, oh, these little whippersnappers. I'm too old for this at this point.
Little whippers.
But I want to know, Erin, from your perspective, what was one of the highlights, or many of the highlights for you, in seeing everybody finally get to talk and strategize?
Yeah, I think it was interesting, the initial targets that got set up, because it's like on Dorit, on the losing tribe, there wasn't anybody that was like glaringly bad at the challenge, and they weren't even targeting Judanique because of her challenge performance. It was because they thought she had an idol. So I think that was
both.
Maybe. But like, I think that was a little bit interesting. And it's also like when you have the whole team there, like looking at the puzzle and like giving direction, it is kind of hard to just pin that on the one person, you know? So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, the initial targets that come out, the initial conversations that happen, like you said, Naomi, like people did just kind of like move towards Xavier. Like they were like, you know, you're somebody that's cool. You're somebody that I could talk to. And I don't know if that was more of like a friendly nature kind of thing, or like this is a freshman I can manipulate kind of thing. I think that could be a vibe of some people. But yeah, it definitely did pretty right away turn into like Nikhil and Anna versus Ricky and Viv, with Xavier kind of talking to everybody and Jude kind of just being like the target until Vivian kind of like filled her in and was like, hey, you're being targeted. Do you want to do something about it? So yeah, I thought that it was really interesting how it all played out. And I love to see a 3-2-1 in the very first vote. I think that was hilarious. And I don't know where, and I think Nikhil is like, he's subtly overconfident. Like, he's not like Ayal where it's like, it's all out there. But he thought everybody would just be okay with him being like, yeah, I'll be the only other vote. Like, I'll decide basically if Jude plays an idol, I'm going to decide who's going home. Like, that's essentially what he was saying. And he just expected everyone to be fine with it.
Told you he'd be a flake.
Not a flake. Well, let's jump to, I think, the tribe of the hour, which is the pink tribe, Zaman, because the Puppet Master is playing tricks. Now, I just want to put this out there. I think the Puppet Master is Ranjan.
Okay.
For a couple reasons. One, I don't think we saw a lot of them this episode, and I think that is a person who is not holding back in the reality TV department, so I'm a little suspicious of the edit. 2, I don't think it was somebody on the blue tribe because I think they were too busy with tribal council, and I don't think that they would have had the time to then also create a fake email account. You know how long it takes? Gmail wants you to put like your number, your birthday. It takes so long. So I think that it was somebody on the green tribe messing with the pink tribe. And I could see maybe like an Ethan, but really, who else is going to be as dedicated to the production value of the Puppet Master than Runjan? That's my theory. But let's get it out there. In case you don't know, in case you forgot, the Puppet Master is tormenting the Zaman tribe. They found their idol, and they are tempting them with was the demand just like find my idol and meet me?
It was like, show me proof you have another tribe's idol and we'll trade. I'm a reasonable person.
Well, I think it was to not give like away what tribe they were coming from. I guess my question is, do you think that this was like tormenting or trying to make an ally or a little bit of both?
See, I definitely think it was tormenting because they like refused to meet up with people. They were like, maybe you'll be an ally in the future. But I have a theory that it's Vivian trying to cover her tracks from sending the idol clue to everybody instead of just her tribe.
Yeah, can we talk about that? That was
gag.
As somebody who's been on Discord for like way too long of their life, I know the pain of accidentally sending a message to the wrong chat. Mm-hmm. I've never done an idol because I was never good enough to have a clue, but it's just accidentally sending a message like, "Oh, I did not mean to send this to this channel," or accidentally, or when it's worse, I play a lot of Minecraft Survivor. When you go to PM someone in Minecraft and you accidentally send it to the public chat and everybody sees it. I've seen a good few of those happen. It's just so funny to watch, but it's so like, oh no.
Yeah. Govind, what was your reaction when she sent out the entire
Did she delete it right away?
I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Shane was filming at the time, and I was walking with other people on different tribes. I think at that moment, it kind of like awoke everyone. And I'm really thankful that experience happened because at that moment, people aren't really thinking about like searching for other people's idols or anything of that sort. But then the moment that becomes public knowledge, what that idol clue is, then everyone's like, oh, and you see that, right? You see that the other tribes are already looking. We get that experience of like Ayal, Lauren, and Nadia all looking together. And I think it really kicked into gear a lot of these people's like sixth sense. And whether or not they found something, like clearly it doesn't seem like Unique found anything at the very least, but still everyone was like looking at that same time, which is dope.
Yeah.
What was the timeline like? Just because it was like chopped up a little bit, and I might be old and bad at figuring out things based on edits. What was the timeline like for
5 minutes after they split?
Wow.
It was quick. It was very fast. It was that quick. Like she sent it, and then they were like Vivian, and then she realized, and she was like, "Holy shit!" And by that time, you already have Ayal, Nadia, Lauren, Haley, and Abby looking for it. It's clear why Ayal, Nadia, and Lauren are looking for it. Obviously, Abby and Vivian are friends, so that makes sense too. And then Haley is just kind of there. That one was the one that surprised me. I did not expect Haley to be looking for the blue team's idol. That one was the one that I was surprised by. I was like, what is Haley doing?
Oh, Haley. I love Haley. She is like, clearly she's like, you know, just kind of along for the ride, but in like a very fun way. And, you know, I'm always going to root for a music major, I guess. But, you know, she is like, I felt very bad for her. And because if I'm correct, she and Tina get left out of the alliance, right? Or am I?
Ranjan and
Tina get left out of the alliance. Oh yeah, she stumbles into it. That's the Green Tribe was also very funny this episode. Oh my god, I loved them. That they were such like chaotic. You know, Ethan's immediately like, sorry, alliance. Like, you know, 4 people.
For me, that was Haley actually.
For me, it was that Ethan said that he got stuck with them. Like.
Well, because Ethan wants to work with Ranjan, he was saying. Like, he was like, Ranjan wasn't there, but, like, he's obviously someone I want to be in touch with and be working with. And, yeah, pretty bad that Ranjan and Tina were the only ones not there and also the ones who were heckling at the challenge. Like, they are really just, they're like, you know what? Here's 2 easy votes. You're welcome.
And apparently there's existing beef because Joe didn't let Ranjan in on some orientation thing.
Transmutation Assassin, he said.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yes.
And now we
Oh,
finally
wow.
know who Joe was talking about in his preseason confessional.
Wasn't Ethan.
That was the gag. That was the gag of the episode for me. Was that was not a confessional about Ethan. I was shocked. But yeah, they formed this alliance. So again, that's Abby, Ethan, Haley, and Joe.
The
and
Bean Squad.
The Bean Squad. Terrible alliance name. Respectfully, horrible.
There's no such thing as a good alliance name. Like, just say we're in this group. Don't give it a stupid name like your own.
Yeah,
Big
just
Brother.
call yourself like the Six or something. Make it like give it a number.
So the whole tribe.
I mean, you're not supposed to do that for like, strategic reasons, but like just for my brain, just call it your number, whatever, people. Yeah, so they're in alliance on Brandy, and this is definitely like, thank God that Green didn't lose, because if you're Tina or Runjin, you are out in the cold, and it's very hard to come back from that in one vote. So hopefully they can integrate themselves a little bit more into the tribe. It just goes to show how important it is to be at these really, really initial meetings. Like, I have to say, if there's anything, there's the rule of real Survivor, but the rules of college Survivor are like, get to the very first meeting that your tribe has or you are fucked. Like, that's what it reads to me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and what I really like from Zaman too that we're seeing is like a lot of just full tribe calls. And I feel like the Puppet Master is kind of the reason for that. Like, if somebody is kind of targeting your whole tribe, you want to all get together. You want to all figure it out. So the Puppet Master is kind of like bonding this whole Zaman tribe and bringing them together. And that's probably not the best bet for them.
Now, are we sure that the Puppet Master isn't somebody from that tribe?
We're not sure. But I feel like that's just, that would be next level.
Yeah, I said like preseason, AL, obviously the Puppet Master, because I feel like he was the only one that like has the balls to do it. And then when somebody was like going through on Discord, it was like, I don't think it's this person, or this person, so it's this group of people. And I was like, okay, let's narrow it down a bit more. And it pretty much narrowed down to either, if it's Green Tribe, it's probably Runjin. If it's Blue, it's Vivian. And if it's Zaman, it's Ale.
Okay. I can't wait to see how wrong or right we are in like what episode.
It was Abby all along.
Episode 6.
That's when we find out?
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
I'm too old for this, you guys.
Turns out it's not even anyone from the season. It's
it
all
turned out
three
it's
from
Leo
last
back
season.
again, just like
Oh my
fucking
God,
with them.
not Leo.
Oh man. Well, so basically, the Pink Tribe is the tribe I think I really want to dive into the dynamics of, because they are sort of the most, I want to say up in the air, but also messy for me. Like, clearly Eyal is trying to like establish some form of dominance, but then he's also moving in a way where he like, is like, oh, well, we could vote out Lauren next. It's like, who said anything about voting out Lauren? It was, I mean, Erin, talk to me. This was messy.
It was, yeah. Because like I said, yeah, Lauren was my winner pick. And I am like, obviously, it's like, Eyal just established this alliance. Like, you go idol hunting with someone on day one. Like, that's some solid trust. That's like, yeah, it was Eyal, Nadia, and Lauren. And I loved that group. I was like, yes, like, let's go. Let's keep this. But then, so now Eyal is like, no, let's vote out Lauren. And I get it. She did like cut off that PS on her response from the Puppet Master, which is like probably not the best move, especially like assuming that other people are going to respond back as well. So that wasn't great on her part. But then, yeah, Eyal immediately taking that, and instead of just talking to her and being like, hey, by the way, like, we got a response too. It had this PS. Like, did yours have a PS maybe? He was like, no, I think we'll vote her out. Like, at
Are
first
you asking for reasonable decisions in a college Survivor?
No, you know what? You're right. That is on me. But I do like that Nadia is now even like, so Eyal is willing to just immediately like flip on Lauren. Like, why are we talking about this? So now I think Nadia might be more Team Lauren than she is Team Eyal. So I think that could be interesting if we see a little bit like Nadia, Lauren team up. Then we have Parker and Henry. And who's the sixth on that tribe? Valen, right. I don't think I've seen Valen speak with a single person other than on the full tribe.
Only confessionals.
Right. And Henry's
what great confessionals those are. I have to say, Valen cracks me up. in everything she says.
was a part of the group of 4 of herself, Henry, Nadia, and Lauren looking for an idol after the Puppet Master's first message.
That's true.
Okay, this was the most shocking part of that whole week. Like, I think the Puppet Master didn't expect them all to like compare notes, in a sense of like them to like all be working together. Like, I don't know, if I'm getting this email from somebody named the Puppet Master and I have a chance to get an idol, I don't know, I think I would take that, and I think I wouldn't go like talk to everybody on the
tribe.
Like, I feel like I would like hold on to that and like use it against that person later in the game.
Well, I also think that the biggest mistake the Puppet Master maybe makes here, and I don't know how you guys feel, is emailing everybody at once. I think the Puppet Master should have targeted like one person on each tribe that they were trying to get. And then from there, like, you know, if that person doesn't respond, go out, like, you know, you're the first person I've emailed. Like, basically, like, gaslight them into being like, you're my only one, babe. I'm not talking to anybody else. Do you want to tell me where the idol is? Like, I just thought it was kind of crazy to shoot off an email to everybody on a tribe. I mean, Govind, watching the Puppet Master work their magic, what were you thinking about the way that they conducted themselves?
Yeah, I was in absolute shock because this was something way beyond any of our wildest dreams on at least a production front. And then second, I was in shock that they sent it all to one tribe all at once. I was exactly on the same wave like this you, Niobe, where like target one person, let's see actually whether or not that person would have bit, because like it's clear from what happened in the episode that Lauren actually wanted to like work with the Puppet Master, right? Like if she was the only one that got like the message, it could have turned out very differently rather than the entire tribe like bonding over this moment. And then I have my own. I'm always partial to Nadia, given like my friendship with her. But like her doing the Puppet Master stuff was like insane.
That was funny.
And I was like, wow, this is about to like even blow up even more.
For
Can
me,
we
it was
confirm-
Nadia. Oh,
Sorry.
no, you go, Lee.
I was going to ask, can we confirm that is that a real idol that Nadia has?
I don't think we can, Shane. Can we?
I confirm whether or not it is in the next episode, so you'll have to wait.
Okay.
But
Now what
it
were you
only
gonna say?
fits to say. But for me, it was that Nadia goes, the Puppet Master forced my hand. I had to make a big move on day 3, and I'm like, on what planet did the Puppet Master force your hand into making a big move? Like, sure, they tied your hands a little bit, but they did not force you to make an account called the Master Puppet Master and hide a fake idol. Like, no.
So we know Nadia has experience with making these fake accounts.
Nadia's just playing with herself.
The entire time.
Well, okay. One thing I guess that isn't really. I actually forgot to like make a little graphic for it. But the Puppet Master doesn't email back the Master Puppet Master email. They email back Nadia's personal account.
So they knew it was Nadia.
Maybe. I can't confirm that. But they did email back Nadia and they did not respond to the fake idol.
This is some Nancy Drew shit.
That would just make me more think, like, is it somebody on her tribe? Because how would it know it's Nadia unless it's somebody on her tribe and there's only one person on her tribe that she told she did this to?
And that's Eyal, yeah. Interesting.
Also about this, have none of these people seen, like, any crime show? Like, you don't just immediately go to someone like, who are you? Or like, meet me in person in half an hour.
Oh my God, Parker.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen someone as mad as when Parker got stood up on that date with the Puppet Master. The man was waiting out there. I remember him like texting his like prod chat, being like, "I'm in my car. I'm awaiting the first person I see." And he just like is out in the cold and it's enjoy the evening breeze. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome.
The biggest twist to me would be like I would believe it more if like Judanique was the Puppet Master than if it was Parker. 100%. Like Parker is the farthest person from it, in my opinion. He is just so tunnel visioned now.
Oh my God.
Also, Parker, double check your notes because I noticed on that little fake advantage you made, the whole tribe name was not in blue. There was one letter that was in black, so you could tell it wasn't production.
Well, I just think that it was so funny that Parker is like, I want to play this like really honest game, and then he's like, let me make a fake hidden immunity idol clue.
Badly.
Parker also showing his misogyny. He said, Mr. Puppet Master. He said, definitely a guy. Like,
yes, I will only
Girls
be
don't
using
have
they them
egos,
pronouns to refer to
apparently.
the Puppet Master. Puppet Masters can be women too, or non-binary people. It's not just
yeah,
men.
Raven from BB19. Puppet Master.
So I just scrolled back into Parker's little prod chat, and then I just read this message of like they're talking about like the hunt behind like Hunt Library thing, and Govind's like, would love to have your perspective in addition to the Puppet Masters and all of this, and Parker goes, my perspective is that the Puppet Master sucks.
Sounds about right.
Amen, Parker. Amen. I mean, I also think Parker is a really funny character, and he gets up to a lot of tomfoolery this episode. You know, like he has that really funny competitive spirit that I think you always need on College Survivor. Someone who's like going a little too hard on the challenges, is a little too into everything that's going on, and you're like, dude, it's College Survivor. But you want that energy in a character. I mean, Govind, was Parker someone you had a lot of expectations for, or were you more sort of like, oh, you know, whatever happens, happens?
I had a lot of expectations as a character, very low expectations as a player, because everything we'd heard about Parker before the cast was about how he is like this man who, like I described previously, a walking contradiction. He's so into like calling people out, such an army man, true to his morals, but then at the same time, he like lies without realizing that he's lying. It's this really interesting character. So Zaman, I think, is one of my favorite tribes, like, period, in Sky Survivor. And the fact that we had like him, Ayal, Nadia, Lauren, a lot of these huge personalities just from like start one was awesome in my mind. And I think Parker just delivers on like content. Like he is such a fun guy as far as like character driven monologues are concerned.
Don't
Somebody
send
do a
him on any
Parker monologue
recon
for their
missions.
audition one year, like in school. Sorry, Lee, what were you saying?
I was saying, don't send this guy on like any recon missions or anything to do with like negotiations. Where it's like we're holding your soldier hostage. He'd be like,
Send Parker,
send
yeah.
him.
Oh my god. Oh man. Well, I think like from this episode, what is the best Zaman alliance that is like? What do you guys think, like Erin and Lee, is the alliance that is coming out of Zaman into the next episode and is maybe going to be the most successful in this game?
Ayla and Nadia.
Okay.
I wouldn't say Nadia and Lauren, honestly. But even then, like,
Either way, Nadia.
Either way, Nadia for sure. But
oh, it's like Naomi's made a good pick for a winner pick. Everyone was trying to be a hater last time, but look where I am.
What did I say last time?
I think it's very. I don't know if I would confidently say that there's a single solid alliance on Zaman right now. If I'm being honest.
Yeah. The Puppet Master and
yeah,
the entire tribe.
Right. It's the whole tribe. They're all coordinating together, but obviously that can't be an alliance. Like the Puppet Master has given them a common enemy, but that's also making it difficult, I think, to see an enemy within their own tribe to kind of like target as to, you know, when tribal council comes. So I don't know that we've gotten to that point of like targeting anybody or building a solid alliance, because like, yeah, Ayal is like, maybe we'll get Lauren, but the only person he said that to is Nadia, who was like, why is Ayal trying to target Lauren? I thought we were in an alliance with her. So I think I don't think I would call anything on that tribe currently an alliance.
No, I wouldn't even say they're in an alliance with themselves. I don't even think they know what's going on. It's like
nobody is working for their own best interest.
Very accurate. Very accurate. I think they are the biggest hot mess of a starting Survivor tribe that I've ever seen. And when we played the content, I was like, the next time on, and I was like, yeah, how will Zaman like fall apart once again? And they were like, what do you mean fall apart? Like we never fell apart. And I was like, no, you fell apart. Like
I don't think they were ever together. Like I don't think there was anything to fall apart. They just never got together.
We're like, we were so united. It's like, no, No.
You were united in how divided you lot were.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
I want to know more a little bit about Henry. I feel like Henry was not on the back burner.
Who?
He was like right in the throes of things, but he was somebody who I didn't get like a ton out of this episode. And I'm wondering, Shane and Govind, like, what was Henry up to this time around? What was he doing? He's like little. He's like the Kevin McAllister who's like left behind when they leave for the airport. Like nobody's really like, where's Henry?
Henry, yeah, Govind, you want to do it?
Now I have a cat crawling on my arm, so
Aw.
I heard a cat, and I was like,
but yeah, no, I mean, you see Henry involved in certain things. He was on the idol hunt with Lauren, with Valid, and with Nadia. But you also see that his whole thing, even in the confessional we shared, like with the pregame presses, he wanted to not be the first one to make these big moves. And I think now being part of this tribe that is all about big moves, is people creating alliances and being like, oh, let's backstab that person we just allied with. That's not really Henry's like MO. Instead, he's trying to take things a little chill. And then when things necessitate action, then Henry will act. So he's a character that like builds over time rather than necessarily like episode 1, he's going to give you everything he has.
I will say too that like, again, it's one of those like classic, like Henry does not give a lot of content. So like he had a big part in like the whole like making the fake clue with Parker, but like he didn't talk about that. So most of the things that like Henry may do in the season or say, like he doesn't record about. So it's very hard to like, again, it's just we're going based on what we have. So if somebody's not included in something, more 95% of the time with me in the editing seat, I like to show everybody's perspective. So if somebody's perspective isn't being shown, it's because they didn't give me anything, more likely than not.
Which is especially the case this season. Like there's no like true inactives on this cast. Like if they are not shown in the edit, it's because they're choosing not to film themselves.
which I think brings us right around to Nikhil, and back to Dorit. Well, the Blue Tribe, as we said, Dorit lost. They're going to Tribal Council. And when I tell you, the minute that it was like, and I was like, I don't really like Vivian. I was like, if Vivian goes home, they cannot convince me that this is a good season, I'll be fucking furious. I was like clutching my desk, and I was like, I guess I'd lose Jude and Anique. Like I was just, you know when you bargain with yourself when you're watching Survivor, like who would I lose in this moment? I was going through that. I was in the throes of this episode. Thank God. So I'm wondering, Erin, like, give me the breakdown. Like, this is so complicated, I feel like. So I want to know what your notes were and like what your thoughts were on this Blue Tribe sort of hoopla that went on.
Well, first I had the same thoughts. She's like, do not tell me Vivian goes home after I've been saying she's my winner pick, because this is a horrible tradition for me. It's like I take a winner pick, they go home super early. And I was just pretty much like, I don't want to say shitting on the people, but I kind of wrote down, why is Anna's voice annoying?
Jesus Christ, she's already dead.
No offense, girl, but she just sounds like every like stereotypical mean girl. With like how everything she says just sounds so fake. And the whole like Regina George comment, like, where did that come from? It's like, you were talking with Nikhil and Xavier, and all of a sudden you're just saying like everyone's a bitch. Well, not necessarily.
Well,
like, why
I think it was
say
a reference
like
to the phone call with Vivian. She went on a whole rant about Vivian. Lots of rants about Vivian.
Shocking.
Can I just say, Mean Girls was a movie that came out in 2004. I was 10 in 2004. I feel like everybody else in this cast was like 6 or 5 at most. Like,
And
the fact that it's like Mean Girls references like are still happening
Anna
to
was
say.
3.
Anna was 3.
Oh
Exactly.
God, me and Anna are the same age.
So I just like, I laugh so much when Mean Girls is still something that people think about to this day. I'm like, oh my God, like that movie is like almost like 20 years old at this point. It's insane. Anyways.
I also thought it was funny when Vivian was talking with Nikhil, the rare chances Nikhil shows up, and she was just like, Nikhil says Anna is good in challenges, but he's just saying that because Anna's good looking. There's a crush on her.
I know, that killed me. No, but she didn't say. She was like, I'm not saying that he like has a crush on her, but he definitely finds her attractive.
I mean,
I love
we are getting back into that like perfect OG like Maryland era of like people just firing shots at each other in a confessional and be like, I'm just about to say something really fucking mean and I don't care and it's true. And you're like, oh my God, like this is what I love about College Survivor. Oh my, that was so funny. And she's so pragmatic about it. She's not trying to say that he's like, you know, like being gross or anything. She's just like, this is just the truth. It's just how it is. Vivian is fantastic. Perfect person, perfect confessionalist. So good.
Please let her win.
Please.
Love
My
Vivian.
favorite thing is that like Nikhil's sole goal here for this tribal is to save Anna, like to make sure that she doesn't go.
And he's the reason
he
she
is
goes
the
home.
reason that she went home. Like he is the one that sent her home, basically. I think that that's so funny. That's so poetic. Like in targeting this other person and like making it clear to like Nikhil he misplayed this so poorly. Like not only did he like target Junique, but then he also like told Ricky and Vivian like, hey, I'm gonna put a vote on somebody that's not me or Anna, that's like not Anna, because that's who Jude's probably gonna vote for. And so like Viv and Ricky are sitting there thinking like, well, he's probably not gonna put it on Xavier, so like it's one of us.
I mean, he did tell both of them, like he told Ricky, I'm probably going to throw my vote on Vivian, told Vivian, probably going to throw my vote on Ricky.
Right. But then he's expecting them not, again, then that means he's expecting them not to talk to each other, which is just like, it's such a bad play. Like if you're going to throw your vote, you can't tell everybody else on the tribe that you're going to do that. He could have gotten away with that if he would have just told Xavier and Anna.
Yeah.
That would have been fine.
I think he was thinking like, or he was probably told like, we're going to need 2 people to vote, Vivian or Ricky, probably Vivian. So it's like, tell Ricky and Billy, like, do a 2-2-2 split. Or make it like a 3, or that he thought.
He didn't though. Like he had a confessional where he was like, I'm going to just throw my vote. Like he knew that he wanted only one vote because he thought only Jude was against.
Was going to vote. Yeah, I think he thought everyone else is going to vote Jude. I'll just throw my vote.
Exactly.
I think in doing that, he then gave them the leeway to be like, actually, I guess
do the 3-2-1.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get out Anna. What's she giving to the tribe? She's the second worst.
Oh my!
It took her 8 times to run back and forth to build bricks.
I love that they were all clocking each other's challenges too. Like, Vivian was like, it took her 8 times, and then Anna's like, we counted how many times that you threw the ball at the bucket. Oh my God.
And I lost neither of you guys were the worst. Did you not see Joe and Abby? They were there for like a good 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That was painful. Watching Abby with the buckets. I'm sorry, Abby. That was just so hard to watch.
I think
maybe nominate yourself for puzzles.
It's like period. I was the one filming the green tribe for that initial thing, and like I could feel like my foot like sinking into the ground from how long I was standing in the same spot. It was absurd.
Oh my God. I know. That's like I have to remind people when they're filming challenges, like if it goes long, like don't stop. Like you can't just like stop filming and then come back to it. Like I'm sorry, you have to stand there and just point your camera at them for like 30 minutes failing to throw a ball in a bucket. This is just how it has to be. Shane and Govind, like what is the insight to this sort of chaos? Like I'm curious how quickly it all kind of comes to a head and turns around and flips into this 3-2-1.
Very early. Very, very early. Within 24 hours. Like they got the ball rolling because they really only had like 72 hours for this first vote, which is like not a lot of time for when you just met each other. The timeline from what I was really involved in the filming of this first vote. So the timeline was, it was clear Jude, all Saturday. Sunday, Vivian and Ricky realize that there's like an alliance between Xavier, Anna, and Nikhil because Jude clocked it. They didn't think that at all. They had no idea until Jude brought it up. So then they're like, well, fuck, like we have to do something about that. And that's when this plan starts like kind of forming, and Nikhil says that. And then from the rest of it, then they just like are like basically just playing it up the whole time. So like day 2, day 3 is when it really starts.
This was so fun. I mean, this episode is so great and so well put together, but also like it was such a blast to see you guys get to do a live tribal council. And you know, we had those in the past, last season, but like it was really fun to like be there from moment one, especially for a tribal council like this. And Anna really did not see it coming, huh? She was.
You saw the shock on her
Goofed.
face when that last vote for her
For
came
me, it
out.
was the pan to Xavier being like,
oh,
Oh
gosh,
my
she's such a
God.
bitch.
which to be honest, I was like, you'll see in the next episode, like they actually made an attempt to talk to Xavier and be like, hey, we want to vote out Anna, and he just didn't listen. And so like it's shocking from like it was shocking from my perspective that he was so blindsided, because to me it was so blatantly obvious that they were voting for Anna. Like I was like, there's literally no way that like I wouldn't see that they were voting for Anna based on their interactions with Xavier, because they didn't want to blindside him.
It's crazy to me that Xavier was sitting there like, I'm juggling all of these alliances. And it's like, no, you're not. You're working with Anna and Nikhil, and you're telling Vivian and Ricky nothing. Like, you're not juggling anything. You have people that want to talk to you, but you're not giving them anything back. So, like, obviously they're going to know that you don't want to work with them.
Yeah, I made that comment as well.
I had to commend Vivian, I think, because Vivian, I think, realizes that Anna is voting for her very early on, and like she can sense that tension, right? You know, they're talking about each other, and then I think, you know, it was like, oh, who's Anna voting for? And Vivian's like, it's me. It's like so obviously me. What are you talking about? Like, I thought that was like Vivian had a lot of good insight this episode, which I was very pleased to see, that like she went from being in a spot where like she could have easily just gone home if like the Alliance of Three steamrolls everything, but instead it's a lot of social work, it's a lot of manipulation, but it worked. It comes out in the end in like a 3-2-1. You love to see that happen, huh?
The first
like
Scotty 3-2-1.
When that happened, we were like, this is week one, like you gotta be kidding me. Like
the only thing that could make it more crazier if it was like an idol play tribal one. I've only seen this happen once, and my God, was it a moment.
And even just from the broad side, I think we had such high expectations for Anna, especially coming in as a recruit from Leo. Like Leo, season 1 is like partially the Leo season. Like it's very much his story in certain parts. And I was thinking like, okay, Anna's gonna have a similar mark on this season. And gone week 1, one of the top characters we thought we had was wild to us. Luckily, everybody else was batshit insane to still work itself out.
There's a reason they say lightning doesn't strike twice.
So we can confirm Anna was not the puppet master.
Anna was not the puppet master.
She would not hide. She'd be like fully out there. It's like, I have your idol. What can you do for me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Anna wouldn't have been coy enough for that, in my opinion.
It's gonna be so fun trying to figure out. And I don't know if you guys are doing this, but you leave like little like edited hints to who
you'll see it like eventually. It'll make sense. Like you'll be like, oh, I get it.
You watch back through the season, it's like, oh, now it makes sense.
Once the like puppet master. So I like kind of mentioned this. I guess I don't know if it was before this podcast, but in the middle of the season, before the merge, I'm going to do like a puppet master like recap episode of like basically explaining the whole story of the puppet master and how it came to be, how they went about things. And I think a lot of the things that like the kind of holes in the story will kind of make sense, and you'll see like, oh, there are like kind of like subtle things that you don't even realize,
like little Easter eggs.
Oh,
exciting.
Well, I'm thrilled. I mean, I'm curious, Erin and Lee. Erin, where do you think the Pink Tribe is going from here? Is it just an alliance of Vivian, Ricky, and Junique? Is it like, you know, what is going to happen going forward?
Okay, yeah. I definitely think that Nikhil just kind of shot himself in the foot. Like, he basically made sure that, like, by writing Vivian's name down, obviously she's not going to trust him because, like, basically, if Junique played an idol, like, in Nikhil's mind, Vivian was going to go home. And so, like, you never are going to trust somebody that was okay with you going home. So I think that that's definitely a burned bridge. And I think obviously that just made Ricky and Vivian's relationship that much stronger. And then Judanique, like, she was going to go home. And Vivian and Ricky just saved her. So, like, she's going to want to work with them. She's an honest, like, nice person. So she's going to want to work with the people that just saved her. She doesn't seem like the backstabby type. So I definitely do think that that's going to be the alliance moving forward. I think that Xavier is definitely better positioned to kind of work in with them, especially if there are going to be 2 swaps. One of them's definitely going to come soon. Like 2 swaps with 18 people doesn't leave a lot of room for, like, you know, a bunch of weeks in the same tribes. Like, obviously they're not going to swap right away, but this does, like, Xavier still has the opportunity in the case of a swap to work with these people, where I feel like Nikhil does not.
Definitely.
I think for the blue tribe, if they lose again, I'm pretty sure Junique will go home, because Ricky and Vivian pretty much made sure it's like, we only kind of need Jude for this one vote, and if we lose her the next vote, nothing's going to be effective. It's like, oh, we lost her, we still have Xavier, so I probably see that for them.
Which is wild to me, because they did say that a lot. I was like, why? What planet is voting out Jude, like, kind of smart when you have, like, a clear numbers? But I think that, like, I think Vivian kind of talked about it, is that Jude is not a good liar. And that in Survivor can be, like, very detrimental. Especially with this cast, who is lying a lot.
Especially Vivian, she's obsessed with it.
Well,
actually, if anything, if you know somebody's a bad liar, that's more reason to keep them, because you can tell when they're lying.
I was just going to say, like, I think about Audrey, and, like, not that Audrey was, like, a fantastic liar or a terrible one, but, like, Audrey, like, stuck with the people she was going to stick with, and, like, never really, you know, she never really talked to, or, like, was great at convincing the people she wasn't going to work with that she was going to work with them. I feel like if you have a Jude on your side, you keep that person, because that person is going to, in turn, be loyal to you, isn't going to be great at lying to other people. And if you find out that Jude has said something about you, that's the truth. Like, it's not, you know, oh, I didn't say that. It's like, yeah, that's just straight up what's going on in her head. So I was really surprised also at the idea of, like, yeah, we'll lose Judanique down the line. It's like, what are you talking about? This is like a perfect ally to have in your corner. But, you know, who's perfect in College Survivor?
I also don't know if I fully agree with that, right? Because, like, in the Audrey case, for example, like, Michael Lagurcio from season 1 for sure does not agree with that. He was, like, trusting Audrey the entire week he went home, that gets, like, blindsided by Audrey. So very well.
I was gonna say Audrey, like, flipped a lot in season 1.
Fine,
but
the innocent freshman.
Okay. I do think Judanique is a much more of, like, a wholesome, bright light.
Her and Audrey are, like, nowhere.
Yeah.
I think Audrey was a wholesome, bright light, just maybe a better liar, right?
Which shocked us. Didn't see that coming.
Shocked me. I said she'd go home first.
Oh my god. Well, I gotta ask you guys, Shane and Govind, what do we have to look forward to in the next episode? What's coming down the pipeline? Mess?
If you thought this one was messy.
Yeah, I'm thrilled that y'all liked episode 1 this much, because in my mind, what I was waiting for is, like, episode 2, episode 3. So if we could get enough people still interested after episode 1, that was all I was hoping for. I think you're in for so much more mess. I think you're in for so much more, like, really interesting gameplay. So, and having already watched what Shane's put together, like, it's awesome. Like, the product is really, really top tier.
I'm convinced that if the pink tribe go to tribal, every single one of them's getting a vote. It's a 1-1-1-1-1-1 vote.
Absolutely.
I have to say, like, the first 3 weeks of this game, I have never, like, I felt like I was dealing with an emotional roller coaster of, like, I felt like there were times where I was like, okay, I'm gonna, like, have to, like, actually, like, deal with the emotional trauma that these people are gonna go through after the game, because, like, damn, like, they are just ruthless. Yeah, it was the first 3 weeks, the first 3 episodes really just, like, set the pace for this entire season. Like, there are a couple, like, little boring moments within it here and there, because of course there are always going to be those, like, throwaway votes that happen, but the first 3 weeks really just hound in the drama, like, nothing like season 1. Like, it was, no offense, it was slow season 1. Like, it took time to, like, really get there. Like, this is not that.
I'm
But
so happy
listen,
when I've
we were
trouble of, like,
rewarded in
not
season 1.
unanimous.
We were rewarded with Olivia's win, so good things come to those who wait. But now I have been waiting for Scotty Survivor season 2, and now it's coming, so it's all good. I mean, I want to know, Erin and Lee, is there a standout player for you guys? Like, Lee, did you have somebody who you were surprised you liked so much getting to see them this episode?
Ale.
Oh.
It was weird that I liked him. It's like, wait,
But
why
that's
do
what happened.
I was like, wait, why am I kind of rooting for this person? It's like, who else was I surprised? No, I wasn't surprised with it. Ricky, kind of. It's like, I kind of just expected him to be like a middle role player, but he's actually kind of rootable.
Okay.
And
Erin, what about? Oh, anyone else, Lee?
I'm trying to just like flick through the cast. Like, who's there again?
It sounds like a no to me. Is what that sounds like.
I'm gonna say though, those are the surprising ones.
I want to know more about people's thoughts on Verandy, like Abby, Ethan, Tina.
I was about to say,
we didn't get much
for
from
Randy.
them. Yeah, right. We didn't really get much from them this episode, I think. Like, not really enough to kind of base
I liked how everyone was just like, Abby's smart. She's threatening. She went to Princeton.
Yeah.
You know, so I know we talked about Ethan potentially being a first boot. I was surprised at how well Ethan integrated himself right into the tribe. He was there when the alliance happened, and he was just right in the middle of it. Didn't do too much, didn't get too messy in episode 1. I feel like Ethan's one of those people who could freak out a little bit if they have to go to tribal council. But again, I'm just looking forward to seeing more Runjin on my screen. Like, I cannot wait for whatever is brewing. And I love Tina. Like, Tina cracks me up. Anybody who's willing to like cause trouble in the very first challenge is like, what are you doing?
I love that even like after that though, even Tina was like, I don't know why I did that. Like,
yeah, no idea.
That's probably not the best call, but like whatever.
And the Pink Tribe even forgot she did it until her friend Nadia pointed out, like, yeah, Tina also made fun of us.
Yeah, that was choice. That was
and the heckle was hilarious too. Isn't the heckle like, do you guys have to go to the bathroom or something? Like,
yeah, did you take a potty break?
Yeah. Is the rain getting to you?
Oh my god.
Yeah, Tina's one of those characters.
28.
Tina's one of those characters where like everybody kind of just assumes that she's like kind of there, not really saying anything funny. And like we had like a little premiere thing, and Tina just came on the screen, and everybody just was like in absolute shock, just like seeing what she said. Like, she's just so funny, and I think people are like realizing like how funny she actually is. It's hilarious.
I love it. Well, this was a fantastic first episode. Guys, Shane, Govind, what are the socials? What do people need to connect to be deep in Scotty Survivor and joining us for the season 2 chaos?
Oh, is that me, Govind?
Sure.
Do either of you know your own Twitter handle?
Yes, Scotty_Survivor. Yes. Well, I don't run the Twitter, so neither of us do actually. So no, we're not Twitter people. Shout out Danny.
Whoever's running it is doing a fantastic job. I will say that.
Shout out Danny. You can follow us on Instagram at the same handle, Scotty_Survivor. You can join us in the Reddit Survivor Discord channel. Would love to have some more discussion in there. Other than that, we have like our little post episode poll on the YouTube. Be sure to fill that out.
Thanks for reminding me.
And yeah,
same.
I think the biggest thing is just share it, because like as you can see from the way that Shane and I have been talking about this, we are really, really proud of this season. And as rough as it is, like I love season 1, but season 1 it seems to be popping a lot more than season 2 is right now on our YouTube. So if you really want to see season 2 take off, like please share that with your friends. Please like, comment, because it does do a lot for the algorithm, and we just want to make sure that this season gets to a lot of people, because like even when you look in the comments right now, season 2 is still a very close group despite all of this craziness. They're very involved in Scotty Survivor still, and I think that's just testament to how much time they put into this. I really want to make sure the time they put in is rewarded by people who also want to watch their journey too.
Yeah, not that I'm disappointed with how the episode has performed, because I think it got generally really good reception, but just we want more people watching. So yeah, tune in Tuesday at 8. I sadly will not be watching live, unfortunately, because I'm going to a Philharmonic concert, but I will be there in the comments afterwards. So.
But for me, you have to wait 19 hours until you're finished work the next day. The joy of living in me.
No, I was just saying I'll be there in the live chat. So
right,
I go Philharmonic stuff. So get ready to watch it. I think, in my mind, it's one of my favorite performances as a tribal council host. So I really enjoy that travel coming up for sure.
I think that's sweet. You can't give them too much, but
okay. Well, I also have to say that some of the best ways to support a show are to comment on YouTube, especially giving it likes, because that shows more people the videos, and following and sharing Scotty Survivor on Twitter. The Survivor community needs to know how good College Survivor is. They are haters. They are doubters. I watched Australian Survivor. I fucking hated it. This is way better. This most recent season, but this is really fun.
True.
Guys,
you talk about fucking over somebody else's game. Try fucking over your own brother's game.
Amen. Well, I just have to say that you follow Live Reality Games. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast feed, our audio. We are updating it. I am updating it. It's a lot of work, so please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, or give us a YouTube comment, or subscribe to us on YouTube. There are so many ways to support Live Reality Games and support Scotty Survivor. You should do all of that. Lee, Erin, Shane, Govind, thank you so much for being here with us. This is so much fun, and I can't wait to cover the rest of the season. We'll be here probably Sundays most of the time. But thank you so much for listening.